couple people wanted a Hoya Care Hoya tour from my plant Instagram, so that's what I'm going to be doing today. Kind of walking through like my setup and some of my Hoyas. So yeah. This is a room in our basement, and this is where all the Hoya magic happens. Over here we have sort of soils, different things, perlite, orchid bark, stuff like that. And in here is storage, so we have some of these plastic cups that I've drilled holes in, cords, and here we have kind of packing stuff, scissors, etc. And then here we have a bunch of pots, fertilizers. This is the fertilizer I use. People have mixed feelings about this for Hoya. And then orchid mist is something I use infrequently on my Hoyas, but I still have it. Then we have in here plant labeling, plant clips, extra pots, more extra pots, and then more extra soil and things down here. So as you walk into my grow tent, you'll notice that there are two setups of lights. So these are 8 bulb T5 high output fixtures, and I have 2 humidifiers. So there's that one there, which is a Janani. And then this one is just a regular like spa room one that you would probably use in your bedroom. And those get refilled as much as they need so that they're constantly running. 2 shelves, one on the left and then over here, one on the right that my dad built. And they're just basic plant shelves that are super easy for me to load up my plants. And then over here I have my little humidity meter, and the humidity is pretty low right now because I haven't refilled my humidifier in a couple days, but the temperature stays right around that 77 degrees. That stays over there. Top here I have a lot of plants that don't really mind super high light. Clearly this one's a little bleached and the foliage isn't super pretty, but this plant in particular has, I believe, 4 different peduncles. So it's got one here about to bloom, the 2 that you saw there, and the one over here, and it is constantly blooming. Super beautiful. This is Hoya lasiantha. And we have some pubicalixes, variegated Wayetii, obscura here, variegated australis, hot lips right here. Love this one, super pretty. We have Dr. Ebach here. This is a Coco Ranch Hoya hybrid. Intervariated Carrii, one that I really love, and then one of my super favorites, which is Hoya cereogensis, and it just put out this new leaf right here, which is kind of pinkish. These 2 right here are what I call my back from the dead Hoya. We have Hoya bicknellii here, which died off except for these very 2 leaves and a teeny tiny bit of stem, and I was able to reroot it and grow this whole beautiful leaf. And then Hoya ficii here, which was a big cutting that died off, and again there was very little stem left over, and now it's put out those 2 new leaves on top, and it's super cute. Here you see a whole host of Hoya multiflora seedlings that seriously need to be watered and fertilized. That's why they look like this sad color. This one is super sad over there, but these ones were from Doug Chamberlain of Vermont Hoyas, and they are growing super well. Almost all of them sprouted. I think there was only one that didn't, and they're doing great, and like I said, they really need to be watered. Another cool one down here, we have Polynura. That one was from Unsolicited Plant Talks. We have Chingensis, which was also from Doug Chamberlain. We have Rotunda Flora, a super favorite of mine. Adorable baby leaves. This is from the Plant Hall. And then another good one here. This is a teeny tiny Hoya serpens that's rooting right now. And I think that might be a teeny tiny baby leaf right there. But this one is super cute. If you can't tell, these leaves are fuzzy, and I absolutely love that plant. So maybe one day I will sell that piece, but for right now, she's rooting. And then we have some from Christine's Hoyas over here. This is Laos, and then Arnaudiana, and just some other miscellaneous ones over there. On these bottom shelves is where I like to root and reroot my Hoyas and cuttings because I like to give them a lower light environment just so that they can focus on growing their root systems before they get moved up to a higher light shelf. So here we have some cuttings that I got in a plant trade. Specifically, it was Rick and Swiffer's trading post, and I got this from a really awesome Hoya lover, actually very close to me in New England. So this one is Blasternasii. Super excited about this one. It is rooting. Let's see if we can get any of those roots on camera. I'm not really seeing any right now, but it looks great and it's throwing off a new leaf right there. Another one she gave me was Hoya caudata. Now this one is super, oh, is that new growth right there? It is. Super sought after, super hard to take care of, but oh my goodness, it is so beautiful and it's rooting great. You can tell when the leaves are really succulent that it's starting to root, and I love to use these little clear cups because then you can see the little roots coming in. So that's awesome. I try to keep my cuttings moist at all times to give them the optimal rooting environment. Over here we have some Mindorensis red. The roots died off on this one. It was a full plant, so it's been rooting in leca. And then another one that she gave me was this densifolia, which is reaching for the stars right now, so that is great. One over here from Logi's, Hoya affinis, which is super cute. The blooms are adorable, so I hope to be able to get that to bloom one day. People interested in other types of plants, I have my moonshine sansevieria and my raven zizi over here kind of tucked in this corner, and they're doing great. They love it right there. And I forgot to mention back here is Hoya retusa. My boyfriend thinks this one looks like grass, but something super cute is that the ends of the leaves look like little butt cheeks. I don't know if you can tell, I'll try and zoom in, but they're like little butt cheeks. So cute. Of these hanging plants from up top are my pride and joy. This is Hoya finlaysonii, specifically UT 073. And the leaves are gorgeous. It's putting out new growth like crazy, and it's also slightly fuzzy. And then we have Calistophylla shortleaf, which is another one of my absolute favorites. Super pretty, and it has a peduncle. I don't know if you can see it there, but super nice. This one is Hoya increstata, which shipped super poorly, and I've been trying to rehab it ever since. It's starting to do better. The leaves are plumping up, but I had to take a cutting, try and save these pieces on the end, and it looks like that peduncle might be dying off, but I think the leaves are starting to get more succulent, so hopefully that roots nicely. Over on this shelf, I definitely have some favorites. This is Hoya eligorium from Logi's, one of my super favorite ones, one of my first ones. That clearly needs to be watered, you can tell, because the leaves are just folding. Normally they're super succulent, kind of hard to fold. Let's see. That one needs to be watered too. Like this, like they have more structure, they're a little bit harder to fold, so that one definitely needs to be watered. But this one back here is one of my favorites for sure. This is Hoya Patsai Changmei. I think this one might have been renamed, but it's super pretty, gotten super full. I absolutely love the foliage. So pretty. And then, can't forget this one. This is Hoya Lockii. The leaves don't always look super pretty, but the blooms are gorgeous. They're about to be falling off sometime here shortly, as you can tell by the yellow stems on those blooms, but they are so pretty, and this one's bloomed for me twice already, and I haven't had it more than a year, so love that one. Our favorite is Hoya imperialis. This is Hoya imperialis rashii specifically, but it is so pretty. The blooms are huge, and I'm hoping within the next couple years to get a bloom from this guy. But that one's from Doug Chamberlain of Vermont Hoyas. And then over here is Hoya pentaflebia, which is another great one. Super huge leaves. This is a new one as of this year, along with these top two, which aren't quite as big, but super pretty foliage. Love that one. And then my Hoya obovata recently put out a peduncle as well. You can see it there. And the new growth has started to get some of this pinkish speckling. So super pretty as well. Another favorite for sure, even though this is a more common one. This one here is Hoya melliflua. which is one that I got as a cutting from a friend on Instagram, and it has seriously taken off so much. It's climbing all the way up here, and it's super adorable. The blooms on this are really fuzzy. They produce a lot of nectar, so I'm hoping, fingers crossed, to see some blooms from that one someday as well. This one is a cultivar, a lot of people's favorite because of that super pretty leaf shape and the veining. These are some of the newer leaves, which I find absolutely adorable, and this is just all around a super cute plant. Other plants from very famous Hoya sellers. These ones are from Rick Moyer down in Florida. I would say that Doug Chamberlain and Rick Moyer are both very famous plant sellers, especially Hoyas. And this is actually the first plant that I ever bought from Rick. And it's super, super pretty, very well grown. He obviously loves his plants. This one is Limoniaca. And then I bought this one during a special, so I got Hoya Super Eskimo, I believe. Croniana Super Eskimo. I got this one as a bonus, which was super lucky. I know a lot of people search for this plant high and low, so I'm so thankful. And in addition, I got a cutting. He always sends a bonus cutting with his plants, and this one is a Dischidia. Let's see. Dischidia bengatensis, and this was technically my bonus. So that one is rooting right now. It looks like someone's new growth from a different plant fell off in there, but I'm keeping these down here. I normally keep my newer plants and my plants that are rooting down on these lower shelves so that they can kind of focus on getting recuperated and sort of avoid any shipping stress that might be happening. This one here on my bottom shelf right by the humidifier, this is Hoya Acuta Pink from Gardino Nursery. I really love the foliage on this plant, and it honestly deserves that spot right next to the humidifier. This plant is so freaking pretty. It's unbelievable. And a lot of these leaves are getting these really pretty splashes on them. Please focus. So I definitely recommend this plant. Like I said, this humidifier runs almost all the time. I have it running on like a continual setting so that it is running constantly. So next to it I have my Hoya australis, and this is from a local nursery, and the new growth comes in this really pretty pink color. And then in this box over here, it's just a storage tote, but I keep some plants that really love high humidity, some smaller leaf little guys that I will pull out. This is one that I looked for a very long time. It's now putting out new growth, which is super adorable. I already showed you guys this, but Hoya serpens is seriously too adorable to handle with those fuzzy little leaves. But this is a much bigger plant. These were rooted when they came to me, and I stuck them together, so they are just over there getting the humidity that they love and kind of popping out some new growth, which is really exciting. Last plant that I showed you is a mother to this plant, which is Hoya CV Matilde or Matilda. Not quite sure how you say it, but this one as well is popping out those new leaves, which are unbelievably adorable. I looked for those two for a very long time, and I'm super thankful to have had a couple different planty friends that either tagged me in sales or sold some cuttings to me, and they are so cute. I potted them all up together, and it looks like they're rooting nicely based on the new growth. And then the other parent to that last one that I just showed you is Hoya carnosa. So Hoya Matilde is the baby of Serpens and Carnosa, so I have all three of those guys. I already mentioned this one a little bit because I have a tiny piece that's rooting, but this is Hoya chingensis, again from Doug, and it took me so long to root, but now that I have, it's starting to grow a lot more, do really well, and I'm very excited. This one blooms beautifully and very prolifically, and I believe it's in the fall or the spring, I'm not sure, but this one is a great one to have in anybody's collection, and it's super sought after as well. Another super awesome hybrid from Coco Ranch is this Hoya Dossie. The leaves are almost always different shaped. Like this one is kind of circular. These ones are really elongated. All around a super pretty plant, fast growing and really adorable. I love that one. I keep it down here so I don't forget to water it. This one is a more recent one. This is Hoya Acuta. And I got this one off of a Facebook group, super sweet seller, and the splashing on this is so pretty, and it just recently popped this new leaf out, so we are keeping her down here to get reaccustomed. This is Hoya Sunrise, another pretty well sought after one. Super glossy leaves. These can get really sun stressed and turn into a nice pink color, so that's another one that I keep close to my humidifier. You can tell it likes it from those little aerial roots down there. Oh, and the baby leaves. So cute. Now, this is probably going to be the last one that I'm going to touch on just time-wise, but this is a variegated Hoya compacta that originally came from Costa Farms or Exotic Angels. You see it named various different ways. But this one, what I found with Costa Farm Hoyas is that their roots tend to die off. And I love these plants because they're so well priced and super cheap. And if you can get them and rehab them, then it's a great steal. This one was super banged up at the store, so I really wasn't expecting it to do awesome. And when it started to decline, I just decided to cut off all the roots and kind of repot them into this pot and let it kind of decide what it wants to do after that. I had to do that with my Hoya, I think it's Affinis Bertoniae, and along with my Hoya Wayettii, which were all Costa Farms plant that I found at either Lowe's or Home Depot. So those guys you'll have to typically reroot after a while because their roots will die off as the soil's not super suited for Hoyas to thrive. Here's a little bit of an overview. I know I didn't touch on all of them, but just for time's sake and the fact that I kind of want to talk about the soil and things like that, I thought I would just hit on a couple of my favorites, kind of show you an overview, and then let's step outside and kind of look at the other things that I have. This is where I keep my Hoya mix, just in this big tote, and then you'll see here that I have a weird ratio going on. I use cactus soil as a base, and then I have the other half is normally perlite and then orchid bark. I used way too much orchid bark in this batch, as you can tell, but normally I do like a 1-to-1 of cactus soil and perlite, and then maybe like a half portion of orchid bark. And then I found this, I believe it was Lowe's, which is like a special orchid potting mix, which comes with various things inside. So I grabbed that, and I think I'm going to start substituting that for my orchid bark just because it has some of that chunky perlite. And this is the perlite I use just because I can't find the super chunky perlite, which looks more like this. This is like a grade 3 or 4 perlite, and that's what I'm hoping to find in the future. But for now, I just have these little baby ones, which seem to do just fine. As far as fertilizers go, I will tend to use this orchid spray every couple of months during the growing season, just mist on the foliage and kind of on top of the soil, and that tends to help with bloom boosting. And then here I'll use this almost like every other or every 2 waterings during the growing season, just to make sure that they're getting all of the nutrients that they need in order to grow and flower properly. That's all I'm going to do for now, so let me know if you guys have specific questions or if there's other things that you want to see, and I will take a look into that. So thank you for watching.